Gambling. Some people love it, some people hate it, and others love it way too much. Just please don't gamble. Gamble responsibly. All right. It can lead to a lot of lost money and lives ruined, and it's horrible, right? It can be really bad. But don't worry, okay? Because the game rating people who rate the games based off of like what age you're allowed to play them, those guys, they are making sure that our kids are staying safe from gambling within games. And this is definitely not me setting it up for them to not be doing that later in the video. Definitely not. They labeled Balatro as 18 plus. The reason is for gambling. Now, if you don't know what Balatro is, it's this silly little card game where you play poker hands and you get these weird jokers up here and you have to try and get a certain number of points. But like it is gambling, right? You're gambling in the game, but there's no real money being used, right? It is all completely fictional. There's not even microtransactions, which is crazy nowadays because it seems like there's more games that have them than don't. So Balatro got 18 plus for fake gambling. So this must mean that games that have real gambling in them must also be 18 plus, right? I mean, that seems worse than Balatro, which isn't even real gambling. But don't worry, Local Thunk, which is the creator of Balatro, said, since Peggy gave us an 18 plus rating for having evil playing cards, maybe I should add microtransactions / loot boxes / real gambling to lower that rating to 3 plus, like EA Sports FC. And if we go to the EA Sports FC page, we see there for people ages 3 and up. Now in EA Sports FC, there are ultimate packs, which is basically loot boxes, which if you don't know what loot boxes are, it's something that you can pay for to then have a chance to get a bunch of random characters in the game, which sounds like the very definition of gambling. That sounds like exactly what gambling is, a random chance to get something, right? Like, is that crazy to say? We'll talk more about that, but I also just want to highlight that the creator of Balatro has been quoted to say, I hate the thought of Balatro becoming a true gambling game. He hates gambling so much, in fact, that he literally put it in his will that nobody can ever use the idea of Balatro as actual gambling and to put actual money into it, which is sick. That is awesome. He has it in his will that when he dies, nobody can use his IP as a way to make money. What a beautiful person, you know? And his issue with this isn't Balatro being rated 18 plus. It's that other games that are even worse than him are rated 3 plus. As we see another game here, NBA 2K20. This is a game that is 3 plus once again. And this is actual footage from the game. This is crazy. Dude, it's a literal slot machine, and that's okay for 3-year-olds? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. But apparently this is worse than this silly card game, you know? I don't understand. Also, Balatro got Game of the Year, or what's nominated for it. It got Indie Game of the Year though, so that's pretty sick. It's a really good game. Now Peggy says every gambling game is going to be rated 18 plus, and to be a gambling game, you have to be a game that actually teaches the player how to gamble or bet, and or you encourage the player to want to gamble or bet for money in real life. By these rules, I guess, yes, Balatro would be a gambling game, which I guess kind of makes sense, and as the creator said himself, he's okay with it, but I feel like the other games that I talked about aren't really teaching anyone how to gamble because they just are gambling. The game is loot boxes, the game is gambling, the game is giving money to the company so that you can maybe get something in return. That's gambling. They're not teaching gambling. They're just being gambling. I also think another crazy thing is Genshin Impact being 12 plus when that also has the very big themes of gambling. I mean, it's a gacha game, and gacha games by definition are games that entice players to spend in-game currency to receive a random in-game item. Because like, while yes, in gacha games you can play the game and get gems or whatever you need to buy the loot boxes to unlock a new character, when you're 200 hours deep in a game and you just want that character finally that you've been grinding for forever, your mind might start to wander and think maybe it is worth it to spend a couple bucks to finally get this character I've been working so hard towards. So not only are games nowadays pushing people more and more to buy stuff from them, I mean, 2K games are actually insane for this. Every single year, people push back and be like, yeah, we're getting scammed again, guys. Oh, they're just pushing more loot boxes. They're just pushing more subscriptions. Every single year this happens. And then there's also gacha games where, at least, you know, by PEGI, there is no restrictions being put on them that will actually protect teenagers, right? 12 to 18-year-olds can play this game and spend money on it, which is not the best idea when your frontal lobe isn't even fully conceived yet, and you're not going to make smart decisions, right, financially. And so I think it's just so dumb that fake video games about gambling will get 18 plus, be barred from entry. Oh, you're teaching people how to play poker. Oh no. And then real games that actually have gambling. I guess technically it's not called gambling, but that's what you're doing. You are gambling. There's a random chance. I guess technically you could, you know, play the game for hundreds of hours to get that character. A lot of people aren't gonna do that. I think there just needs to be more restrictions put on games that are actually correct. And it sucks that a good developer like Local Thunk, who is doing the most that he can to not have his game be gambling, is being barred from entry and being barred from places where these other games are allowed to be that are much worse. All right, Silly Kate's out.